Okay, we'll carry on. Question 5 is in relation to managing the public realm. The question asks, should we change policy DES 7, that's in our current UDP, which we're looking to change, and introduce additional criteria for the management of the public realm? I'm just going to quickly ask Officer Chris Mason just to explain very briefly policy DES 7 for those who are not aware of it.
Okay, yeah. The present policy DES 7 comes in 4 parts. One relates to public artworks, which we've subsequently found we need to restrain some areas of public art, particularly in the West End. The next bit is street furniture and floodlighting, which works on the old planning system that planning only dealt with things that you give planning permission for. We actually have a procedure within Westminster where we vet council's own ideas as well. And the way this was framed, it was framed in the things that you only give planning permission for, not our own procedures. And there's issues about lighting. The third thing was boundary walls and railings, particularly the relationship of front garden hard standings and the crossovers that were necessary, breaching particularly walls in St John's Wood. And those related issues of character. And the last one is using suitable quality paving materials where in the right place. Much of this is actually dealt with in draft supplementary guidance, which we call Westminster Way. Went out for consultation in 2004, and we're now revising it again in the light of various other circumstances. Cabinet members will be getting that shortly. And in those processes, we look at the placing and of street furniture in street furniture zones adjacent to the curb so that it's all kept in a rationalised group, leaving a space for people, and sometimes street furniture at the very back of the footway, but always leaving room for what I call the river of people to flow through, which relates back to the first question this evening.
Thank you, Chris. Does anyone want to come back on the points Chris has raised, or in terms of the question, additional criteria for the management of the public realm? Mr. Zammit.
Well, I often think in Westminster there's a policy group that agree policies and other groups that give permission, and sometimes the two don't seem to meet. And examples I have is, you get a development in a mews, and there's no room to put public lighting in the mews, columns easily. But you have to persuade often the planners to get the owner to agree, when he gets that permission, that he'll agree to lighting to go on that building. That's one example. And you've got other cases where garages are allowed to be converted to a room within the home because they've probably got other parking within that. And there's a crossover on the street. And I know a hotel which did the same. And it seems almost impossible to tie up the planning and the practical side that redundant crossover, or crossovers in the case of this hotel in Queenswood Terrace, are filled in and made better for pedestrians and increased often extra parking you can get under the planning system. I don't know if they're not allowed to do it. So I think the policy is good on what Chris has described, but it's getting it implemented is
it's an issue of implementation. Okay, thank you. Councillor, sorry.
So just to say that, Niall Tipping from Grosvenor, just to say we're very, very supportive of Westminster Way and looking forward to when it does become formally adopted. Just also make a comment on policy and implementation. It's related to tactile paving, actually, where the Westminster policy seems to say one thing, which is put it in, but your designers of public realm schemes seem to say to take it out. So we're a little bit confused.
Okay, thanks for your comment. Councillor at the back.
It may be at another level, but I think it's sensible to make sure that at some level there is a requirement for sustainable materials and for a sustainable provision of whatever you use to do your floodlighting with.
Thank you.
Valerie Kingman, a Victoria Interchange Group. Can I just make a point about your introductory statement, where the only place you mention the public realm is linked to the Cardinal Place development, and you describe it as a high-quality public realm. Anyone who walks through there on most days will be...
You're referring to the note that came out, are you?
No, your introduction to your
Yes.
workshop, briefing note.
Yes, sorry, yeah. Just so everybody's
On
aware.
the second page, underneath the piece about with a photograph of telephone boxes, and it says a walkway agreement has been secured and delivered high-quality public realm. It is a most appalling area to walk in as a pedestrian because there were not proper researches done in wind tunnels when those buildings were designed. Could we have that put in so that new buildings are at least made sympathetic to pedestrians?
Thank you for your comment.